All right, we greatly apologize for the delay here. Thankfully, the war hasn't started just yet, so we do have time to get a little bit of an intro going. But welcome to Primetime of Week 2 of the MKU season. We're going to be here in Division 2 today for the for a match for a very um I think this is going to be a good and big match with good playoff implications between Race in the Space and World Friend. Um, both staples of high div Mario Kart, but specifically Race into Space is a huge story this season because of the massive roster overhauls they've done. Specifically, those two on the left of our screen, Alberto and Jenswo, that they added in this offseason. I'm Awoken. I'm joined by NitTheNat, and what do
Hello.
you think of just these two teams and how this war is going to go in general?
The roster overhaul for RS has definitely been an entertaining one to watch. Definitely seeing two players that have came from the TT scene emerged pretty confidently in the 200 scene as well. Alberto and Jensua, both very confident runners in that game mode. Excited to see how they play in this game mode. Last time I remember casting World Friend was their semifinals against ERB, so very excited to see how that team has progressed and developed as well. I think it'll be a tight match
Yeah.
between the both of them. I think track picks are definitely going to be very, very important from an RS perspective, mainly because run it. I think if you're able to get Alberto and Gensua running immediately, it'll be
Yeah,
good
they're just
from
gone.
the
They're
get
the two
go.
fast. They might be the two fastest players in all of MKU, not even just this division. But
Yeah.
okay, that being said, speaking of the lineups as a whole, we do not have a lineup graphic, unfortunately, today, because we're kind of cramming to get a stream going. But we do know just the players playing. From the side of World Friend, we have Mars, Zakaria. Is it Zachariah or is it Zakaria?
I don't know
I've
personally.
been in this community for 4 years and I still don't know.
I,
But
I'm gonna go with Zakaria.
yeah.
Honestly, it rolls off the
Uh,
tongue better.
We have Zale, who is supposed to be a POV, but I don't believe his stream has started just yet. We'll get that once that's running. We'll be able to start using that. But we have Yukir's, Huglo, and Soren to round out World Friends lineup. And from Race in the Space, we have Alberto and Jenswo, as we mentioned, alongside their long-standing roster of Super, Sergio, Santi, who we're going to be watching throughout this, and Denox.
Yeah, I think we've got two great POVs to watch. Two very both going to be very exciting and entertaining, but two just strong lineups from both teams. Going to be interesting to see who gets out the gate swinging first, because I think this war's going to revolve a lot on momentum. So
For
if they're
sure.
able if they're able to get that initial momentum at the start, it's going to be very good for either team.
Yeah, and that's really what it's going to come down to is can World Friend obviously World Friend has, the experience. They've been playing together. They've been a team for as long as the two of us can remember, really. It's just a matter of can they use that experience and their knowledge and what is probably still um better coordination, team play, item play, all that to outmatch the pure running power that this new Race of the Space roster has. That's the battle it's going to come down to, and the one
Mhm.
and what it's raw lines versus raw item play and ability to coordinate team plays and stuff like that. I do tend to see that in most cases the latter is generally what prevails. So I do think it's a I do think I'm gonna give the slight edge to World Friend, because of what their skill set is capable of doing for them in terms of negating the
Mhm.
running power Race of the Space has, but it's really a battle of two different playstyles, and I think that's gonna make this a very interesting war to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I think the chemistry of World Friend, if they're able to lock down on that early and just shut out the race and the space players from being able to run, I think that's gonna be a huge testament as to whether or not this war will be a really close one or whether one of the teams is just gonna run away with it from the get go.
Hmm. We are looking at 12 in this lobby. I believe we'll be getting started momentarily here. All right. Yep. Sent the word out to them. Just waiting for the lobby to start. Not entirely sure what spots these teams really have or who's host or anything like that, but
I believe Santi's host.
yeah. Oh yeah, Santi is host. You see the continue button in the bottom right is highlighted, and so we would probably be seeing a pretty traditional runner here for race one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
I
be
mean,
surprised if it was something that was super like high skill ceiling tech based that's like difficult to play quickly. Something that Alberto can really take advantage. Alberto and Jensua can really take advantage of
mhm.
um of their driving ability on.
Honestly, I've played against, whilst it's not racing the space, I've played against racing the Supernova a lot, and I know they tend to have a lot of inward, so it wouldn't surprise me if they open up with Piranha Plant Slide, as I know the second team really loves that track, and of course having Santi in first on inward, I feel you're able just to get a huge breakaway with inward if you know what you're doing on that track.
For
So
sure. Yeah. All right. Gonna be getting started right about now. Hopefully we get a good idea of the spots we're looking at, and probably just gonna be a pretty traditional runner. Yeah, PPS makes a lot of sense. Santi is an inward starting in first, and this is a track with a high technical skill ceiling for outward driving specifically. I know. So the game plan, is if RS get this track pick, they're going to try and break away to the
no,
best of
for
their
sure,
ability.
for sure,
Which
for sure.
I guess the same could also be said for Moo Moo Meadows though, because you do have the super fast players on the RS roster starting in the back, and they could shroom up here and break away as well.
Very true. Yeah.
You have Alberto starting in 11th. You have Jenswa starting somewhere in the pack. Might be able to either get lucky and get a shroom or drop to 9th and get one, and
Even
still just make up the time difference.
even still, I feel inwards do have a bit of an advantage on this track just for the fact that the lines are pretty simplistic. However, the fact that Wolfriend will be able to draft up early will be a testament to seeing whether or not they're going to be able to break into the pack. However, Santi does have a decent shot of holding first just due to the fact of how tight the lines can be on this track.
For sure. Barring, all the random greens we see, we do see Santi getting a trail off of
Oh.
one World Friend member. However, it's going to be Soren outlining him and Zakaria shrooming into first, so it'll be an early World Friend top 2-5 from the looks of things, as they're doing a good job early neutralizing the race into space's running power.
If that snipe had hit, that would have been a crazy
That would have been an
number.
insane snipe, yeah.
But yeah, Santi
but
just doing his best to hold down the front presence right now. Wolfriend top two, it might be potentially worth going for shock. Maybe it does seem to be a bit more of RS in the bottom spots, but
yeah. Santi is actually getting that red off onto Soren, is gonna be able to get his teammate Denox into second there, but is going to get hit for it instead. So ultimately, just a trade of spots really. As
blue shell out though.
Yeah, the blue shell out should be good for RS, as well as seeing a lot of them here. Alberto going into his star, having triple shrooms afterwards. A lot of them pulling power items and speed items in the back here. Could be
Denox
able to
only
catch a
one.
cure at the end of this tight pack. Gonna have to be careful of Mars starring up. We do see Euchre's getting hit out, but Super's gonna go down as well. Ultimately, gonna be a lot of light blue Yoshi in the back. Actually, this could be good for World Friend. That Daisy did hold first, I believe. RS. That's
Yeah,
Denox.
Denox
But it
did
looks like a lot of World Friend
coverage,
behind
but
him. Yeah, a lot of World Friend behind him.
that's a
Alberto
strong.
able to sneak into third, but that is a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe, for
Wolfriend, yeah.
for World Friend.
Yeah, it's a strong race. Despite only being a small differential, it's a strong race to start out for World Friend. They're kind of delegating RS to the back spots, forcing them to work up in these future races. However, the 1-3 from Denox and Alberto could prove to be very good, especially if they get their track pick at Boo Lake. Alberto being able to potentially pull a shroom right out the gate and drive away, but we do see Tokyo Blur.
Yeah, another really good track for starting in the back, having a lot of coins and shrooming up at the end of section 1 here. This is actually not anymore as of recently, but this was one of the many tracks Alberto had the world record on. So obviously the driving experience is going to be able to come into play if he can potentially get a draft off a second or first and find his way up the pack. But it's that coin count. He just can't keep up
The
with the
bumps as
Teddy's
well.
bumping him out and just getting drafted and not having the weight stat.
Decent bit of RS in the mid pack though. 2-3 it
Yeah,
seems. They're gonna be shrimming
yeah,
up.
both able to shroom up. Soren going for the Nisk and maybe a trail, but not able to get it quite yet. There's a lot of RS up here, but they're going to have to be careful of these triple greens from Yukirs.
Yeah, Yuki is going to be able to get the work done. However, Alberto is still able to hold on to first. Santi's probably just going to be defending, doing his best to defend Alberto from here on.
Great defensive play from Santi. And Alberto, great improv, able to avoid that triple nana snipe.
Threading the needle.
Yeah, it's now Huglo here in second.
Oh,
and
unfortunately.
Zakaria also putting on the pressure. It's a lot of World Friend in these top spots. Alberto is kind of alone up here because Santi might have to work a miracle to not die here. Alberto's going to get comboed out, and that's going to be a World Friend top 3. Top four even.
I was wondering if RS were holding the blue for Alberto, but it doesn't seem to be the case as we do see one of them in last. There is the shock in play, though.
Really good shock for Santi getting into that ground shroom and is going to negate a lot of the slowdown and might be able to just shroom up past one or two of them as is Denox. Yep, there goes one. But they're going to just hold that top 3.
Top 3 getting set, however, could...
Jenswa making his way back up, Super making his way up right there, but all those World Friend members in the front just held their spots. It's going to be a lot of... Hold on.
There was a good bit of World Friend in the back, actually.
There was a good bit of World Friend in the back. Sergio actually able to find his way into first at the end.
Yeah, 8-9 bottom too.
Yeah, that shock better for RS than like obviously that that had to have been RS's shock. There's no way it wasn't. It seems like it was going to be, a salvage get what you can type of shock, but no, it actually ended up winning them the race.
For sure, yeah. Surprising to be fair. Usually getting top 3 into a final set can be a bit of a risky play, but of course you do just kind of have to use the shock there because there's so little opportunity to use shocks with how short Tokyo Blur is. But RS using that very effectively.
Yeah, it looked like they were just gonna get everything behind top 2 or top 3, but Sergio must have either dodged it a ghost or pulled something crazy last set to be able to sneak his way into first and just take out that many World Friend members at the end.
It honestly looked like he pulled a Carnage. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if triple greens were pulled and they were able to coordinate killing out World Friend.
Yeah. Well done by him regardless, as I believe... I don't think that's the lead for racing this space. Oh, it is. It is by 12, actually.
Huge race for them, yeah. That 8-9 bottom too.
I guess that 1-3 on Moo Moo Meadows that RS got held a lot more weight than I thought it did. Fair enough. It will be Los Angeles laps though for race 3.
This track's interesting. I've never been able to try and get a grip of how to play it online. I feel like I'm kind of just a bit all over the place when it comes to bagging, and even with running, it does seem like a gambit at time because you do expect a blue shell and a shock.
Santi going for a shroom here. Probably just the thing to do here. You have coins, you might as well, but a lot of World Friend pulling shrooms in front of him. I see at least 2 of them holding shrooms as well, but so is Jenswa. Jenswa might be able to just shroom up here. Has triple greens, and he's getting bumped out. Okay.
That's
not quite going to be able to just run away with it, but...
That's a top of a World Friend. Santi's probably just going to have to try and either play really aggressive or just try and hold his space within these top spots.
Gonna have to mind his distance with Alberto here while he's still trailing that red, but able to get rid of it safely.
Beautifully.
Now I have to worry about what Soren's gonna do with the red he's trailing. Double Shroom's an alright pull, gonna be able to probably make his way into third or second, barring, the fact that you don't have defense. And yeah, just gonna get comboed here. Okay, able to get rid of the red. But that's still World Friend top 4-6, I believe.
Yeah,
RS needs shock desperately. Like they're in position to get it. They are bottom 4 right now. World Friend does not have a chance at it if the current positions hold. And with that red, they're gonna be top 5. The blue's gonna come out. That's good for RS, but Santi's race is basically over unless he dodges with shock or something crazy like that. But yeah, that golden's gonna do it. Aw. Presumably an RS shock, unless
A
Hugo pulled that at the back.
decent bit
No,
of RS
no, they are
dodges in the
catching up.
middle.
I would have to think that was an RS shock, but
Yeah, same.
unfortunately, Santi not able to benefit much from it at all.
Looked like RS
Probably
was able to
looking
dodge
at
it at
last
least
here.
7
Yeah, yeah. An RS member able to make his way into first up there.
I think
I'm
it's a
pretty
lot of
sure
work
that yeah, that hit was
there.
after the line. That hit was after the line, but it's still a lot of World Friend behind that first from RS. Zakari actually able to pass him at the line, and that's a 1-3-4-5-6. That's a huge race for World Friend.
It does just seem to be two giants at the moment going back and forth, trading these races, both trading the lead.
Yeah. Yeah, World Friend is going to definitely get that lead back. That had to have been more than a plus 20. I would imagine they're going to go straight into Sydney Sprint.
Interesting.
I've never seen this picked for like a group runner.
I mean, maybe it has drafting benefits because 3 through 6 is just able to, if they're able to space out,
Yeah.
they're able to
No,
draft.
I definitely see the vision for it. Now that I'm like thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. But I've never actually personally seen this chosen in 150 at least. I know there's a couple 200 teams that like this track a lot, but
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, I've also not really seen the Bootleg be picked for anti-first spots personally, but maybe that's just the division level I play at. You usually see it more as a group runner in a sense for like top 2, top 3.
I don't even generally see bootleg in 6v6 it is. I've always seen that in my head as just more of a lounge track, really.
Yeah, fair. It is where it's more where it more commonly shows up. So,
Mm-hmm.
regardless,
Either way, though, we are going to see it in play here.
Quite advantage might be huge actually for the RS players in the back if they're able to pull a lot of shrooms and just break away from that cut.
Yeah, Santi able to do so. Can't quite pick up any of the ground coins here just yet. All right, getting one, and already in third, actually. Just as everyone's either hitting each other or getting bumped out, but there's that red. That World Friend just always seems to pull.
I don't catch a break with these Warfront Reds. It's crazy.
Alberto getting hit out as well. World Friend able to hold on to top two. A couple of racing the space members occupying some of the high spots, but not exactly the top spots, as Sergio's attempt at a snipe does backfire. And now Santi has to navigate these triple nanas from Mars, and yeah.
So, respect the attempt at the duel, but just didn't play out in the end. The aggression and the mindset was there. I just think it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. Santi throwing that red has to make me presume, yeah, that is a World Friend top 3 at the moment, so...
Does seem to be a decent bit of RS in the mid pack, though. Ooh, the green back.
Yeah, great back from Mars, and yeah, at this stage, World Friend is in exactly the spot you need. Like, RS isn't pulling shock with World Friend that far in last, at least not taking advantage of a good one. And yeah, they hold top 3. That was probably a World Friend shock. Sergio is going to dodge it, but that got so many of World Friend like right before the last set, and yeah, the couple RS members that did dodge, they have the one getting third, but that's still a World Friend top 2-4. Did a good job neutralizing Santi from having a pretty good shock.
Sergio pretty much being the only one able to pretty much able to salvage any sort of positions from that. World Friend just being able to take the RS track and dominate on it.
Yeah, they're doing a good job despite not having, you know, the pure like world record level running talent that some of this RS roster has. They're still doing a good job of being just fast enough and making up the difference by having better chemistry and item play and all that to fend off the slight difference in driving skill that they have.
No, for sure.
Not to say the World Friend members are slow at all. Absolutely not. Like, this is Division 2. Everyone here knows how to drive for the most part. But like, when you're comparing yourself to Alberto, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even still, the World Friend item play has just been absolutely phenomenal, being able to get them up to that lead. So props to World Friend being able to coordinate everything as we do go to Hyrule Circuit, actually.
Yeah, another World Friend track pick. What is this? Is this the third World Friend track pick out of 5? I believe Tokyo was RS's. and that might be it. Because yeah, Mumu was world friends.
Maybe it was World Friend. Was LA? LA must have been World Friend as well. I'm
Yeah,
not too
I would
sure.
imagine. Um, Still not 100% sure if Zale has gone live for that world friend POV. Um, if he has, then we'll try to utilize it. But
Regardless, Santi getting killed out early, unfortunate with the Reds. Reds in this game tend to end up behind you before you end up throwing them forward and targeting an
where they
opponent.
spawn,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
unfortunately, able just in the back of the pack where we do see World Friend on the minimap just holding down what seems to be a top four, maybe even a top five. Only one of World Friend in the back, just trying to delegate the shock from happening or trying to neutralize in pulling the shock and maybe just making a neutral call out of it.
World friends still holding on to this top three at least, and looking like they just got into top four. Fending out the last race of the space member occupying that spot. Top three still broken away, and Santi having to try and slow down now, just because like they need as much firepower towards the ability of pulling shock as possible.
I mean, if
Like
Sandy's got some
it is
resist,
getting desperate at this point. You're down 20.
mm-hmm.
You can't quite break into these top spots. The blue is gonna help, but ultimately they still have top three break. I don't see him falling any further than fourth, maybe even just holding third.
No one's really at shock distance either. So despite the fact that RS do have the dodges in the mid pack, it's not going to be as effective
Yeah,
unless that RS member would last.
this has to come
Also,
from that RS member and last right now if they want a chance at winning this race.
it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah. A couple of world friends are gonna get hit out there, presumably. Like you're gonna see RS sneaking into like third, and they're getting like 5, 6, or 6, 7 or something like that. But ultimately, that's just not gonna be enough when you're already down this much.
No.
Yeah, and world friends just able to get those spots back and make for an RS bottom three. Yeah, they have been pretty dominant up to this point so far.
Enox has been a miracle player, to be fair, managing to just claw onto those high spots at the very end. However, it barely not being enough for RS to try and get some stability out of it. These World Front races have been huge.
Yeah, no. If there is an RS member trying to salvage things for the front, trying to salvage things to the front, it has been Denox for this entire war. Getting first on Mumu, getting the only high spot for them on High Roll, getting
Same on
I
LA
think
Land.
yeah, the one high spot for them on LA. Yeah.
The split between Coconut Mall and TM from RS is a bit interesting. Both tracks serving a very similar purpose with a strong shroom spot at the start, so
Yeah. We are finally seeing another RS track pick here, so maybe this is what they're going to be maybe this is what they're going to need to be able to find their way back into this match.
I
It's been
mean,
a lot. It's been a lot of World Friend.
mhm.
World Friend has been dominating. Like obviously credit to them. They have been the better team up to this point, but it has, at least in some capacity, come from their track picks.
No, for sure, yeah. Having the coin advantage and the shroom, just being able to pull shrooms did seem to be the play going into this. However, Worldfriend still being able to hold on to a top two with a good bit of RS behind them. However, just from looking at the minimap, there still
We're
seem
gonna
to be a
see,
lot of
yeah,
RS in back.
a bit of RS taking the glider cut and making their way back up here, but that's Alberto getting hit. That's Santi surrounded by World Friend members. That's Sergio
Worldfriend
getting hit as
again.
well.
They're
Yeah,
just constantly
every
able to
time
get
in
the pause.
yeah, every time it seems like every time an RS member makes their way into the front, a World Friend member always has an answer to get them out. That's been the story of this war so far.
Pretty much, yeah. Wolfriend just constantly being able to hold at least the top three or a top four at the end of the lap one, as we do see quite a bit of RS in the back, probably going for the shock. Wolfriend back there as well, just to try and delegate things, whether it be via dodging or
Yeah.
trying to pull it themselves. But
Yeah. Those were
Oh,
two bumps in top two that World Friend had there. We saw the World Friend member in second had one when Santi landed from the glider cut, and then another one being placed at the top of the escalator from the one in first. And that is an RS shock.
I was gonna say 2 dodges.
Yeah, two dodges from RS, and that would have to be their shock. But once again, just for the most part, World Friend doing a good job of neutralizing the damage here. You are going to see, Jens was up here, Santi's up here, but it's still at the end of the day a World Friend top 2-5, and that's all you need to win the races.
Yeah. Just being able to hold on to those top twos consistently, or whether it be the likes of a 1-3-4, well, friend is just being able to get the races, no matter if they're big or small, and just inching away further and further to where this war could be shut out by the likes of race 10 or race 11. So RS really need a miracle in whether it be a track pick or whether it be some sort of miracle shock.
Yeah, that's better. That was a better race from RS, but the thing with wars like this is you need a big race to be back in it, because even if you're just winning slightly, or even if you're just losing slightly, if you're on the losing end of all those -4s, those -8s, those -10s, those add up eventually over the course of a war. If you lose, if you barely lose 4 races in a row, that's the equivalent of one giant race that you could have gotten on any of those. And it's like a 20-point swing. It's a battle of momentum. It's a battle of mentality. I would like to think that RS has been keeping their composure. I haven't seen a drop in quality of play. It's just been
well, friend just being able to dominate the top spots and hold on to everything, just constantly having answers to get RS out, as we do see a plus 64 deficit at the end of the first half of the war. Entering the second on Warrior Stadium, World Friend going to be trying to utilize the top spots immediately. Bit of a driving error from Santi, unfortunately. May have gotten trailed, though, if he had kept driving, so... There seemed to be a decent bit of World Friend in the top at the moment. Mars at the back with the red, probably just going to be able to red out Santi, lowering his coin count, but Santi being able to dodge it. RS just being in last immediately, though, shock could be quite beneficial on this track just due to the lack of cuts. The only real cut is that ending mud cut that we see before the glider, so...
Yeah. Once again, it's just... Okay, a decent trade there for Sergio, hitting one of each team, and at the end of the day, though, look how much Black Yoshi's at the front. They can do what they can dominate the mid pack and whatnot as much as possible, but it's not going to matter as long as those World Friend members in the front just get an uninterrupted run.
Yeah, the triple reds in pocket from Santi, we're not going to be able to see him get used because I think it is RS in 456. It's probably just going to have to be able to hold. Pack is getting tighter and tighter as well, meaning shock is probably going to be less likely as we do enter lap 3.
Santi might be able to do a bit of damage with these triple reds, trying to go for some backs on the World Friend member slightly behind him. And that is an RS shock. You see that time trial duo dodging as well as Sergio. But is it enough? Is it enough to actually get them to pass those World Friend top spots? It looks like it is. If that blue Yoshi in second has shrooms.
Oh, but the blue immediately.
There's the blue, though. Probably a World Friend blue. Yeah, okay, it looks like it did go for a World Friend member. I saw a lot of them spin out at the back there, but...
Did see the backfire a little bit.
Maybe an RS 2-3? 2-3-4? Okay. See, there we go. That's the winning race that you need. If you're RS, that's where you start. That's the that's the first little bit of the 60-point chunk that you have to cut out. If they're able to just continue that and just get a few more slight wins, get a few more, what's the word? Just keep chipping away at the deficit that World Friend has built up. They still have 5 more races to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely doable. Don't write RS out, but...
Yeah, they have more than enough time. One giant race where they get a top 3 or top 4 because they're able to just run uninterrupted. And this is basically a dead heat.
I was going to say, Paris is definitely the track to try and get. I feel like Paris easily one of those ones. If you just get top two, top three, the only thing that's really breaking it is either a blue or a shock. So whether they get the pick though, Sunshine Airport probably not what they needed. A good runner nonetheless, but whether the RS-234 is going to be able to take work of the Wolfriend spots immediately is going to be a question. Practice tends to start off very bumpy as we do see Alberto looking like he is slipping into first. If they're able just to give him a little bit of a breakaway, he could just be able to be up and gone. However, a couple Wolfriend members, Mars unfortunately with the red, but a couple Wolfriend members with the shrooms being able to catch back up.
Santi opting to bag, which we haven't really seen him do so far in this event. Most of the time we've been on his BOV, he's just kind of been trying to do. He's been either running or trying to make pack play happen or anything like that. This is the first time we've really tried. This is the first time we've really seen him in last, trying to make a play for his team in this way. So interesting to see that he's just not stopping. Like that set's not that easy to stop at, but like it can be done.
No, for
We're gonna
sure.
see
Yeah.
what happens as we come here. Yeah, gonna opt for the double. Obviously, you can't stop too hard, given the wave 6 backing changes, but still, no one's at shock distance. Even those two World Friend Yoshis in bottom two.
Maybe they're just trying to clinch onto some good items in the mid pack, because it does seem to be a lot of light blue Yoshi, barely behind that black Yoshi in first.
Yeah, it seems like they're occupying a lot of high spots. It looks like they have like 2, 3, and like 6, 7. They might have 6 through 9. That might be a World Friend bottom 3 behind. Okay, no, there is. I think that's Jenswa in 10th. Oh, no,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But either way, if they can just keep World Friend in bottom 2, then that's a lot of scoring off the table.
But Mars with the triple
That,
reds, however,
they're
being
gonna
able to
bet.
put in work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Santi with a huge star up here, but just once again, whatever front presence RS did have, it's gone. And I think this is just a World Friend top 3. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't able to really get a good picture of what was happening in the front, but whatever World Friend is doing to just neutralize every race in the space member that sees a top spot, it's working, clearly.
Even still, I'm not gonna lie, the pull of 4 greens at the end, not really the best thing to have. Would have wanted something maybe a bit more aggressive, like either a boomerang or fire, to try and take out third place, as they had triple reds. So no, not too sure how RS will be able to claw their way back into it. However, Singapore Speedway, really good track for the mid spots, really good to draft up on early. Tend to see a lot of the mid spots breaking away in top 2 just after their cannon section. So if they get it, it'll definitely work out. However, Bangkok could also have a similar effect just with the fact that you can draft very early at the start. So
Definitely. It is going to be Bangkok. Okay. This is another track that I do think is going to favor the high skill cap, super just the difficult, faster, and more technical driving that like an Alberto or a Gensor are capable of. But
sure.
clearly, World Front is more than comfortable taking that risk because they've proven 8 races in a row they can deal with that. They can just find a way to hit them out.
Yeah, for sure. Going to be interesting to see how the World Friend top 3 plays, as you do tend to see a lot of players go just to the left immediately and try and draft off each other. You do see Alberto in the front almost immediately. I think unfortunately getting rid of... Nope, he's still up there. Just won a World Friend in 1, as RS is able now to secure a 235 from the looks of things. Oh,
Good trail there for Santi, and it seems like actually the inwards here from RS, not even the 2 players you might expect are going to be the ones holding it down up here.
yeah, it made that a
It will
top
be a
4
top 4
immediately.
actually, but now that this is the time that World Friend always just pulls that World Friend shock. That every team that's ever Alberto, Okay,
This is
Santi doing the smart thing and letting him pass, presumably. Okay, Alberto actually just
He's being a
Alberto.
demon. He's being a demon.
Alberto, of all players to be a demon.
He's scared of the demons.
Okay.
I mean, it's working. Whatever's going on with those
That
triple
worked.
queens.
All right. Great job, Alberto. That was there's that world friend shock.
There is the world friend shock.
They pull it every time. However, but believe that Super and Sergio in top 2 have such a break that it might not matter. Yeah, Alberto and Santi gonna grow before then anyway, but here's the blue. Alberto getting hit by the blue, Hugo able to build up. This is kind of the beginning of the end in all of these races. These double reds though, if Hugo can't get into first, then this could be huge. I think that's gonna connect if he can't break it on the wall. It is gonna connect. Maybe
does he have defense in the pocket though? That's the real question.
He has to. He has to have defense in pocket. He didn't pull it out in time.
Is that an
That's huge. That's huge for Santi and Sergio and the rest of RS. Able to finally just get a run and keep it despite the shock, despite the blue. And like it's still not even that big of a win. It's a top 2, 5, 6, and like 9, 10, I think. That's a plus 10-ish.
Even still, despite it only being a small win, it is the momentum that RS have desperately needed. Hopefully just trying to chain a small win into a big win. So
yeah, for sure. We'll see how much of that 60-point deficit that they chipped into. I would expect them to be down like 48, 46 or so.
Roughly around that, yeah. It
can be made into basically a dead heat in one race, but good luck. I like the Daisy Cruiser pick a lot. I really love the Daisy Cruiser pick from them.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think
they're gonna be down. They're gonna be down 46.
Yeah, definitely doable. Extremely doable for RS. And the Daisy Cruiser pick, just if you're able to get into those top spots, like we saw with Bangkok, if you're able just to get into that top 4 position, being able to be a menace and kill out people with the items in the back, just due to the amount of narrow spaces on that track, it can be such a deadly runner. And we're going it.
We'll see what happens here. I do think that this has the potential to be huge for racing the space if they can hold on to these top spots, take advantage of it. It's just, you know,
they need it in a sense. They need one big race to at least make the deficit within a comebackable reach. Despite the winning races being good, you kind of hoping for a plus 20, maybe even a plus 30 at this point. Just to get back
good trail there for Santi. Alberto able to make his way up, top 3 early on, but still a couple more World Friend members to deal with as Zacharias making his way up. Soren and presumably Huglo making their way up. Good trail again for Santi, but going itemless here, and now this boomerang is going to be huge for World Friend.
Only one throw left. Only able to get Santi. I think they're still able to hold first. Super still able to be in first, but it does look to be a lot of World Friend behind. The fire from Mars could prove to be a little bit difficult to dodge. Yeah.
And that Shroom getting ghosted is really bad for Santi as well. Presumably would have either used that on that turn or just to recover from that fire, but now it's to do it the old-fashioned way, and now it's to deal with these triple greens. If I'm him, I would consider burning these Shrooms and just starring into him. Gonna play conservatively, though. Yeah, playing it patiently, and yeah. Unfortunate. Maybe I didn't have the right idea either, but there's really that's a lose-lose situation for Santi there.
Yeah, for sure. Makes the bottom spots. However, you do have to wonder if one of these players in the back does have the shock, as we do see RS in first. However,
it would be Yukers if anyone. I think that's gonna be a star. That's a star. All right, so maybe Santi able to damage control, pass a couple World Friend members at the back. There are a lot of them back here. An RS member was able to hold on to first, but that's at least a 2-3 for World Friend, if not like 2-3, 5, maybe 6 as well.
In the 9-11 for RS, just even if this was to be a winning race, though they've kind of minimized it just from the fact that they are just constantly at least 2 people, if not 3, in the back. Small winning race regardless, so able to keep up the streak of winning races, but with only 2 races left, the clock is ticking.
Yeah, they need... If if World Friend gets at least a tie race, they win.
I was going to say, well, Friend don't need to do nothing fancy anymore. They just need to clinch onto
Yeah,
a decent dish race.
yeah, they just need to. Basically, they need to not collapse.
Mhm.
Like these comebacks happen sometimes, but realistically, RS needs a lot to go their way in the next two races if this
They
is
do
going to
get it.
happen. They are getting their Swamp Ruins. They have gotten a lot more track picks in the second half here, and that has been favorable for them. They have been winning more races in the second half.
Mhm.
But since like race 7 or so, it's just kind of been neutrally going back and forth, hovering around this plus 60 range.
Yeah, World Friend only up plus around 46, 48 still. So RS definitely needing at least some sort of, even if they get a small race, they'd have to bank on a huge race, but you kind of do just want to go for the biggest race possible at the moment to secure your chances of at least being able to make some form of a comeback.
Definitely. We are seeing, yeah, the last RS member that was up there on the front, at least from the mini map, is going to get hit out there. There is one more up there. Presumably, probably I'd have to guess Jenswa. Haven't seen him yet this race.
No, but also there is just one RS member and one World Friend member, both in the back, both bagging, maybe trying to outdo each other and trying to get the shock. Maybe that'll just try and negate things by being able to hold blue or throw it, depending on who pulls it.
Yeah, for sure. It will be good fire avoidance here from Santi. Unfortunately, Denox is going to get hit, so
54, however, for
yeah.
RS, and the blue is coming out.
Yeah, this could be really good for RS. They might be top 3 here, barring, a horn from World Friend, which they don't have. Okay.
On
That
placement's really
bomb
good.
might have actually hit a
Yeah, it did look like
yeah.
a RS member spot out on
Yeah,
the map.
actually it looked like World Friend did pull a horn there. And they've held on to first either by pulling a horn or from some other method, but it's still a 2-3-4, maybe 5. I would imagine not 5.
No,
Denox and Zakaria battling right there, and
I I
that's
think
a
that's
World
game
Friend
set
shock.
match. That's game
Yeah,
set
that
match
might
with
be
how high of a
GG's, that
dodge.
shock. That is hold on. I mean, okay, actually no, that's top 2-5. That's GG's.
Yeah, just with how high Wolfram was able to dodge with that shock, even with RS being able to maintain the mid spots, that looks to be game set and match for
Yes, it
Wolfram.
is. All right, yeah. Good effort from Racing the Space though,
No, for
absolutely.
sure.
But as as I had predicted, it is, a lot of times when it's raw lines and raw driving ability versus a team that has been a team that has been playing together for the better part of what, 5-ish years now.
Feels like it.
Yeah, since at least 2019, 2018, around that era has been has been playing together. Has gone through a couple different eras. Obviously, they had,
Mhm.
their whole dominant stretch in around 2020 and 2021. They still have players remaining from those rosters. A couple of newer faces, but either way, they are a team, they are a system that knows how to play with each other.
No,
And
exactly.
a lot of times um that is what wins you 6v6s. Good sportsmanship from Santi.
Big up Santi
You
for the
you
good.
you always like to see, like I said, I do know quite a few of these Race of the Space members well. I know that they wouldn't, you know they wouldn't lose their composure or have a bad mental move over something like this.
I mean, it's still week 2 as well. You got
It
to
is
keep your
still
head
week
high.
2. I'm not 100% sure how the records of these teams are,
I
but
think just looking from Santi's title, they were 0-3 going into this week. I could be wrong though from the RS perspective. However, I can't speak on the World Friend.
yeah, World Friend has been dominant in D2 for quite some time now. I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking at a 3-1 or maybe even a 4-0. Especially from how they've looked in this match, they looked very, very good. Not even to slight RS, they've also absolutely had their moments and been playing super well throughout this. But
Mm-hmm.
Just that
Alright.
difference is that difference between like a lower D2 team and a higher end D2 team is one of the biggest gaps within a single division in really the entire community. What?
Not gonna question what just happened there.
Either way, though, World Friend has proved why they are one of the favorites to win D2, if not just outright the favorite to win it.
Yeah.
And I think even if you are RS, you can look at this and say, hey, World Friend got like what, 7, 8 track picks.
Mm-hmm.
They even when we pulled Shock, they were able to benefit from it quite a bit. Maybe if
Mm-hmm.
a couple things go our way, this is a lot closer of a war. And I think they can take that and um be maybe not happy about it because a loss is a loss, but
At least able to take it on the chin for sure,
yeah,
and look at it in a positive
able to
light.
take the experience,
Mm-hmm.
you know, be ready for the next time they end up in a match like this.
Yeah, for sure. No, I just was just quickly looking at D2 to see how things had panned out. Ooh, RS Shock. At least it seems to be.
I don't know about that. A World Friend member dodged in like second. And
True.
there was a blue that came out for RS right around the same time. It will benefit Santi a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just to predict. Can't be
Yeah.
that hard of a shock to predict if you see a World Friend member go into a dodge in like second.
Yeah, very true.
And
Does look might
yeah,
be
Santi's gonna pull the Reds to get the top spots back anyway, barring the bump. All right.
unfortunate. It's,
Maybe Alberto stuck into first there, but yeah, once again.
nah, 2-3-4 for RS.
All right, and that'll do it from us at MK Central, I believe. World Friend will take this.
Mm-hmm.
Final score of like 5-10 something to somewhere in the 460s. Probably about a plus 50 for World Friend, I would
Yeah.
imagine. That last race was a slight win for race at this pace.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But either way, was still definitely quite an enjoyable match. It was definitely, I felt it was a lot closer than what the scoreline showed.
No, for sure. Yeah, I think the scoreline definitely kind of discredits what actually happened on the track. RS doing their absolute best at times, but World Friend
Right.
just pulling the right items at the right time to claw them further away.
And they are 3-1. World Friend is. Thank you Twitch chat for that, and as well as Space are 1-2. As they had to reschedule another one of their matches.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how that's looking. World Friend look primed to take a playoff spot, as is probably what most of the community expected. And as far as RS, their season is far from over.
No, for sure. The RS they definitely have the potential to claw back, get some wins. Still a lot of matches left. A lot of tiebreakers that could be won. A lot of
Yeah.
shifts in momentum throughout the season. We see it a lot. The season is never decided within the first 2 weeks. You do
Yeah.
have to honestly play out the full five, as we have seen tight situations within these high divs of teams barely making playoffs. So
Yeah, I am unsure if RS played Paradigm with this whole new roster shakeup. So this is either their first or second tournament together with um the players that they are rostering at the moment. So they obviously I do believe they'll improve with time and live up to their on paper potential.
no, for
Um,
sure, yeah.
given one or two more tournaments, they will absolutely be a massive threat in D2 and maybe even move a little bit further up.
Only time will tell, but yeah, for sure. I think RS definitely have the potential on paper. I think it is just a case of letting the players gel together a little bit more, still figuring out like a couple of chemistry things. But even still, a -50 for them against World Friend showed that they definitely have some things in the right place. So let's really hoping to see how they move forward alongside World Friend, seeing if they just keep up a dominant performance throughout the rest of the season.
For sure. I do think that's going to do it for us at MKC though for this week. I believe we'll be seeing you guys. Yeah, I believe we'll be seeing you guys for the usual primetime at night next Saturday night. If not, it'll be same time next week. But either way, thanks for watching. That was not planned. That was all right. we will see you around. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Take care, fellas.